I'm gonna start working on installing a '03 Suburban third row bench in the back of my '87 Blazer. Time for an upgrade, get some shoulder harnesses for the kids. Been doing a lot of thinking on how to mount it, if I want it to hinge or just direct bolt down. I'm gonna actually move it back about 7-8 inches from the original spot, so I'm just gonna flush mount, not have to worry about any kind of hinges or anything. So what I'm kind of looking at here, the original brackets and everything off of this '03 bench. I know they ran them for a real long time and they're a perfect fit. The frame and everything's almost the exact same. At first I was just going to try to swap the brackets, the original hinges and everything, just to make it pivot like it's supposed to, but I don't use it as a truck. I've got one of those if I need to haul lumber or anything. So starting to look at it. Kid's got long legs. I was thinking probably be better off to just slide it back a little ways, keep him from kicking the back of the seat. I think what I'm gonna do is cut a little bit of this flat 1/4 inch stock, about the same width as these original brackets. I use my 2 bolt holes, do a 3/4 inch underneath the bed for that side. And the fronts, I'm actually gonna reuse the original brackets. I gotta mark my angles a little better. I got it flat off of the rails now. But the plan is cut this bracket down so that way I can still get underneath the seat. And I'm gonna weld a piece of that flat stock underneath here as well. And just gusset it and bolt it through. I think it's gonna work pretty slick. So hoping to be able to do this swap for just the cost of a couple pieces at Lowe's of flat bar. I got a 4-foot stick of it. I'm sure you can probably get just by a foot or whatever. So I'll try to keep track of how much I actually use material wise. Maybe be able to get away with this for a little bit of welder time and 20 bucks in flat bar. The reason I'm moving these things back, I'm sure you're aware, and yes, I have kids, so it's trashed. The original seat bolted in, the face of it about here. Gave us kind of a really small spot. The grown-up's not gonna sit back here. So I'm gonna end up moving to about here. I'm 6'2", and I kind of just sat back here, and it looks like it's gonna be about perfect. I'd be comfortable. I don't really give up much space in the back anyways. The face of the seat back will be around here, so it kind of almost has an armrest built in, just being the wheel tub. I think it's gonna look up pretty slick. If not, I can always move it around, just a couple holes in the floor. But from using this thing, picking up groceries and whatever, I noticed you don't get a whole lot of usable space because leaning over the tailgate, you're out of reach. So that extra 8 inches, I don't think it's gonna be lost at all. I'll get to cutting on some brackets and update you here when I get to welding. I'm gonna cut 4-inch pieces. The idea being drill a couple holes, bolt her in, drill a 3rd hole at the top up here. You can still access it from the back of the seat. Tighten it down. Should be plenty strong. I don't see why I'd need any more. I'll be doing 2 of them. 3rd probably just be a waste. So then once I get these bolted down, use the original bolts of course, I'll put my front brackets back on and pull a line so I know about what flat is. It's going to be raked a little bit. I'm going to lift it up probably 2.5, 3 inches in the front, just so you can get bolt and wrench in there, tighten it down. That'll get me damn close anyways. Pretty basic. Got the holes drilled, and of course your bolt heads stick out, but it just so happens that the rib of the bed will sit right here, and that'll be in the depressed area of the ribs, how it goes. So it might be just a hair off. I'm thinking about putting another 1/4 inch piece across here to make it more flush. I don't think it's gonna be a problem though. I'll get this original bracket mocked up in the front. Keep moving on. Got the first bracket cut. Worked out pretty slick actually. So now that I've got my angle figured out, this whole latch assembly just stays together. I even left the factory rivet in it, a little more strength. But in theory, we should have a pretty darn good angle to up here. Not too bad. Definitely within grinder. Just gotta work on that side. Stick a piece of flat bar across it, drill a hole, we should be ready to rock and roll. Got a couple 3.5 inch pieces of 3-inch quarter stock. And I'm gonna get to welding here pretty quick. I was thinking about it, and I do everything by myself, so it turns out that 1/2 inch hardware, the 1/2 inch nut, is as tall as this. With a washer underneath it, it's just a hair taller. I'm gonna run that nut down tight. That'll keep the stud in place, so when I go underneath by myself, I can tighten the lock nut underneath, and it'll level everything out perfect. So I think this is gonna work really well. I'm gonna use 1/2 inch bolts in the front, 1/2 inch in the rear. I'm gonna set it wherever I want in the truck without the carpet in it. Punch a couple holes, make sure I'm not hitting any lines or anything, and call this a day. The reason that I ended up using these old brackets, in case you didn't know, the whole bottom cover is solid, and there's actually little access pockets to get to that hardware. So if you did a straight bar across or something, your cover wouldn't fit. So I think this is gonna be more than strong enough to support a couple kids in the back. It's not going to go anywhere. Probably cut a couple plates to reinforce against the bottom of the bed. Depends on where it sits. Maybe just the size of the rib underneath, whatever. But I got about 15 inches, I believe, of flat bar into it, and 4 bolts, handful of nuts. Reused all the original hardware. I think this is going to be under a $20 project. I know there's guys selling brackets that do all kinds of funky stuff for $500 or something, but I think this is going to work just fine, and it allows you to mount it wherever the heck you want in the truck. Got it all welded up, painted. You'll end up with something like that. The little covers even fit perfect right around the stumps of it again. Pretty slick. I'm gonna get it thrown in the truck here quick, get some holes drilled, get an overall video of it. Call that a wrap. This thing's gonna be brutally strong. Use a good flux wire on it. Overall, probably got about 2 hours in it. Disassembling, cutting, that kind of stuff. Should be pretty easy to mount. Should have plenty of room to slip a bolt in. And obviously impact it from the rear. Even have little built-in armrests. Pop the old seat belts out, that's no big deal. But I like the distance now. Actually is usable once again, luckily. Plenty of room for an adult, and as an added bonus, I don't think the kids are gonna be able to kick my seat back anymore. So that's good news. There's still plenty of trunk space. I got about 29 inches. Plenty for a cooler and stuff. Overall, I think it went pretty well. Definitely recommend it. Folds down still. I think it's gonna be really nice. Nice thing to do. Way better than that old seat. Get out of this thing. Awesome. Until next time.